Good afternoon, Copites. How you all doing? This is Copites of Anfield. Happy Easter to all my fellow Reds out there, near and far, worldwide, global, and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys are all prepared for a fantastic Easter weekend, and I wish you all the best. Today I'm going to cover off my preview for the Man City game in the FA Cup tomorrow. And before I go into my thoughts on that, obviously, guys, make sure that you comment and subscribe to Copites of Anfield. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure that you do a super thanks if you fancy doing that too. But please do that first, as it gives us really good traction on the channel, and it gives my mate Gareth that much needed support for all the hard work that he's doing, as well as Scott as well, who's now doing all the sort of fitness and injury coverage for us. So he's I believe going to be doing some stuff on Isaac later today or tomorrow. So it'd be good for you guys to kind of tune into that and get his thoughts too. So we go to the Etihad. I did listen to Slot's press conference, which typically I don't do because it drives me insane a little bit. But I figured that it's probably quite important to understand kind of what the dynamics are in terms of our fitness, who's available, etc., and his thoughts post Salah's announcement and whatnot. So it sounds like Salah's back for this game. So I'm going to touch on him first. I hope to see an all-firing Salah, and I feel that we probably will, because he's just he's a professional in the game, right? And he wants, I feel, to make sure he goes out with a flourish, and I'm hoping to see probably the best of Salah for the first time this season, because it hasn't been a great season for him by his sort of standards. So I really hope this is the one that kind of gives him the catalyst or the trigger point where he can really produce, really go at the defenders, score a few goals, and get to a certain milestone before he finally says goodbye to us. So this could be hopefully Salah's best patch going into the back end of the season, whatever games we've got to play in the league, the FA Cup and in the Champions League. I hope that is enough for him to kind of turn it on and go back to vintage Salah. So hopefully that's going to be, we get to see that. And Slot did kind of touch upon it, but I think Slot I think the relationship between him and Salah is falling down. It's broken down. It's finished. Hence why I think Salah's leaving. And it was a bit of a facade today where he kind of, gave him props, and he's supposed to do that. Of course he is, but reading between the lines, for me personally, it's typical Slot, like he has done this season, to kind of paper over the cracks, as it were. He did also touch upon Alisson, who is going to be out probably towards the end of the season. So he's out for a sustained period, which is not good. However, Mamardashvili, when he has come in, he's done pretty well, in fairness to him, and he's had a bit of a shit time in the sense of that his defence and us as a team hasn't really helped him out much. Some of the goals that have been let in has been down to individual mistakes from four guys in front of him, and he's done his best to kind of keep us in games, which he has done. There's certain games where we could have probably let in 3 or 4 goals, and he's managed to keep us in it somehow, some way. So yeah, we're going to see Mamardashvili come back into the lineup. It'll be interesting to see if we have Kirkes or even Robbo on that left-hand side, because both of them are obviously in international duty, and have no idea who we're going to be playing on the right-hand side. It's probably going to be Szoboszlai, knowing Slot, which is madness. But it is what it is. But for me in this game, what I really would like to see, considering this is a cup game, that Rio gets a start, because I think he brings a complete different dynamic to the game, especially where City like to be in control, but what they don't like is people running at them, and Rio is perfect for that. So in my mind, I'm thinking if we have Rio and Salah turning it on for the first time, that could really pose some serious problems for City. But I'm not going to take anything away from City because they clearly knew how to stuff Arsenal the other day in the final, and it was vintage City. Let's get that correct. They knew how to play that game, and while the first 15 minutes they weren't in it, the rest of the game was full control, and they knew exactly what they were doing, even though they didn't have the full 100% team out. So Arteta got completely schooled, which is not a surprise really, because they're playing sort of negative football in my perspective, my view, and so are we. So if we might fall down in the same trap really, and I hope we don't. I'd like to think that we play a similar style like we did last season, where we were quite contained, low block, and we just hit them on a counter, and that worked really, really hard. They had no comeback for that, and it was very solid. It was control. It was very controlled, and a really good team performance in keeping them out. So I'm hoping that we see shades of that going into this game. But as I say, I think going by what City did to Arsenal, that could be their catalyst, their trigger point to go on now and prove, especially in the league, that this league isn't done. And I got a real funny feeling that they'll probably go on and win all the games in the league, including against Arsenal. So do they play them again? I think they do. So it's going to be, if City replicate what they did against Arsenal in the final, they're in trouble, and probably so are we, unless we pull off a tactical masterclass. So we'd love to, as I said, love to see Rio in the side. I'd love to see Hugo in the side. I'd love to see Salah as a front three. The mid, hasn't been. It's been up and down, isn't it? Really, we have too much of a big hole in our mid. I think we were like a donut in most of our games we've been playing. I'm probably not going to go into that too much detail, to be honest, but I do worry about that. So I think we should go in there with some confidence. I hope that Slot does what I like him to do, but he probably won't. What we would like him to do, he probably won't, and we're probably going to have egg on our faces again. And I don't see this. I'd be happy if it would end up being a draw and we win on penalties or something. That's how sad it is at the moment for me. I can't see us winning it. I can see us getting knocked out, if I'm truly honest. Now, Isak won't be there. Slot did mention that. I forgot to mention that earlier, that he's still not quite ready, and he probably won't be really match fit for another sort of 2-3 games in, I'd imagine. And we don't really want to rush him back too much anyway, and we've had to cope with being without him anyway. So, as it stands today, we're out of the league. We know that. We just got to try and get fourth place. Try and get as far as we can in the Champions League, but again, I can't see us winning that either. The best shot that we have probably got is probably the FA Cup. And so I expect us to go strong, and expect us to kind of wake up, and expect to start on the front foot. That's my hope anyway. And it's probably the hope for all of us, really. So look, I hope for the best for tomorrow. I'd like to be surprised tomorrow and watch a good game of football, because it's been lacking, isn't it? I mean, it's been a snooze fest for most of the time. I even watched the Arsenal Chelsea Women's Champions League the other day. My God, I don't think our lads could live with that. The game was fantastic to watch. It was just up and down. They were trying to play some. They did play some good football. Not tried. They played good football up and down that pitch. And I know the quality of the women's game is slightly different, but that's the kind of game I want to watch. And Chelsea, they lost that game Well, they won on the night, but they lost overall. But Jesus Christ, did they really worked hard to try and get to beat Arsenal, and they could have had a couple of goals. It was end-to-end stuff, and that's how I like us to go and play tomorrow. I don't mind if us get knocked out, but we play our type of football. You know, the pass and move, controlled, keep the ball moving, create chances, go for shots, that kind of thing. Play some football, not this shit that we're constantly seeing week in, week out. And Arsenal are the masters of doing boring, negative, shite football. Sometimes I just wish I could take a gun to my head watching some of the stuff that we produce and some of the stuff that even Arsenal are producing. But I'm digressing. So, look, guys, have a wicked Easter weekend. Hopefully get the right result tomorrow, but if we don't, listen, we're still alive, right? There's still things to do. Spend it with family, enjoy yourselves, and yeah, let's hopefully I get to do a review after the game, and I'm smiling because we've knocked out City. That would be a change, wouldn't it? And then you see me smiling and not swearing and not cursing, which is kind of hard not to do. But anyway, listen, look after yourselves, tune in, give us that traction. Let's get up to the numbers that we need. As I said, comment on below, give us your thoughts, your feelings, subscribe, hit the like buttons, give us as much views as you possibly can if you don't mind, guys. And yeah, as always, guys, you never walk alone.